Don't you see how important it is to know this highway to God? The key is merge in the cosmic vibration within. The holy sound of Om, the Amen of the Mohammedans, the Om of the Hindus. Same highway to God. Reference to the same highway. Now going on, the mouth of God, you know, the mouth of the Lord is the medulla center through which we attain the highway back to God. That's the door. That's the door where God's great presence is perceived within us. That's why it is called the mouth of God, because His consciousness and the power of His consciousness are perceived there. The reflection is at this point, and that is the door. Now going on, I have another reference here which I'll give you in a moment. Now realize this highway to God begins a certain place. If we take this Lincoln Highway of which I spoke, it starts at a certain place. I don't know where it is, but it starts at a certain place. And so this highway to God starts at a certain place. Do you know where it is? And it passes a certain way, and it ends a certain way. Do you realize that? Where does it start? You all know it starts at the door. At the door. Before we get to that royal highway back to God, that one highway, there are many other things, many bypaths, but they converge and we enter the highway at this point. This is the door. The door, spoken of in many ways. If thine eye be single, thy body will be filled with light. The eye of intuition. The Star of Bethlehem. Many references to it. That's the East Gate. That's one I like. This is the east of the body. So that's the beginning of the highway to God. Now where does it go? It passes along the spine, in the spinal highway, where we find the 6 centers of the spine. The golden candlestick spoken of in Revelation. Now where does it end? It ends in God. And where is God in you? Where is the city of God in you? It is in the 1,000-rayed lotus right within you, in your own brain, deep within. The spiritual part of you. That's where God is. He's not way off. He's not way off because the Master said our omniscience is God's omniscience. There is no difference, the Master says, between bliss consciousness and God consciousness. Where do you feel it? You feel it in the spinal highway, especially in the 1,000-rayed lotus. That's where this highway to God ends. It begins here. The road, the main travel is in the spinal part of us, and the end is the city of God right within your own self. Now that's why this highway is so important. It is right within us. As it says in the Bible, the city of God is within you. It is not outside. It is right within us. Now the reference I want to give you, one of the most important references is that this city of God is spoken of in our Bible many times as the Holy Mountain, the 1,000-rayed lotus. And let us read in this psalm, this reference, the 48th Psalm. Most wonderful. Listen carefully. Great is the Lord, and greatly to be praised in the city of our God. The Lord is Christ consciousness. Where is it? Right within you, in this part of you. In the 1,000-rayed lotus, it says exactly that. It says, great is the Lord, greatly to be praised in the city of our God, in the mountain of His holiness. And the holiness is God's spiritual consciousness within us. Realize that. Now, this is most beautiful. Beautiful for situation. The joy of the whole earth is Mount Zion, the city of God. All the joy, all the bliss is right within you. In the end, at the end of the highway to God. Finally, it says, on the sides to the north is the city of the great King. This is the north of the body. This is the south, the base of the spine. The east here, the west. And so, this city of God, the end of the highway to God, the goal, is right within us, in our own being. In the 1,000-rayed lotus, the city of God, Zion, Jerusalem, New Jerusalem, the city four square, everything is perceivable right here within us. So this highway to God ends in the city of God right within us. Now we have a metaphysical explanation of all this. You know that God's consciousness and His energy is distributed throughout your body as sensation and thoughts and all sorts of things. Now, when that is turned back within you, it enters in at this point. If thine eye be single, thy body will be filled with light. And so all this energy which is distributed throughout your body as sensation and thoughts and muscle movement and all those things is gathered together, accumulated. Then you start on the highway back to God until you get to that point. Until you get to the entrance to the highway, the door, you're not traveling the highway to God, you're just preparing for it. And that's why in the 8 steps of Patanjali Yoga, these things are necessary at first. We must be good. We must not steal, all those things spoken of. We must observe certain rituals. We must be pure and holy in thought and action. Then we are fit to travel the highway back to God. And so it is most wonderful. We gather together these forces, and they enter in at the door, and then they pass through the spinal highway with its 6 golden centers, and finally the end is in the 1,000-rayed lotus. These are metaphysical facts, but if you meditate deeply, you will not only know those things, you will see them, you will perceive them, you will make yourself, your consciousness, one with those things, and then the highway to God will be a reality. I have another reference which is very interesting at this time. Realize that these forces of God, His own consciousness plus His power, are in you superficially as what? Sensation. 5 pranas, which are those subtle electric currents which cause you to breathe and